Hey, how's it going, captains? Admiral Tori here, and welcome aboard for another World of Warships video on my channel. In today's video, I'm selling the Tier 8 premium German battleship, the Tirpitz. So the Tirpitz is still a very good battleship. She's losing somewhat popularity because you can obtain the Bismarck, which is equivalent to the Tirpitz, but are different in some ways. One way is that the Tirpitz does have torpedo at her disposal, but the Bismarck has way better secondary range compared to the Tirpitz. At the same time, the Bismarck does have hydroacoustic search, so the Bismarck seems to be much more favorable than the Tirpitz, but the way you build the Tirpitz is different from the Bismarck. You see, the Tirpitz, most Tirpitz player will run the accuracy module for the Tirpitz, which means that your shots will be much more consistent and better dispersion compared to the Bismarck. Because the Bismarck, you're going to be running the secondary build, which increases the range and the accuracy of her secondaries. Unless you want to increase the accuracy of your main gun armaments in trade for your accuracy and range on your Bismarck, I don't know why would you do that, because the Bismarck secondary is just simply pure glory and fun when it comes to getting those secondaries to work. But the Tirpitz does beat the Bismarck theoretically at close range, because at close range she has torpedoes and her secondaries will go off, and at long range when you have your main gun armaments, because the Bismarck does not have the accuracy module in general. So Tirpitz still has a reason in this game. At the same time, the Bismarck in most cases will do better than the Tirpitz if you can force that secondary range onto the enemy. So what I have here today is quite a special game. I'm not going to be talking, all about the game. You might have noticed that somebody actually recognizes me on World of Warships. That is quite rare. I mean, the chances are that happening is very slim. And this Indianapolis just decided to turn port side. My guess is that he was worried that he's going to be Citadel on his broadside. If you play the Indianapolis or the Pensacola, you might have noticed that those ships are very easy to be Citadel. So my guess is that the Indianapolis fired her salvo. She got priority target. It says probably 4 or 5 ships are focusing her, and she did not look where she is turning into. So the person who actually recognizes me, which is our special guest today, is Shadow Gray Fox, spelled with the E on the gray, like an Englishman. He also runs into me in the rear. He's probably wondering why I run into him and the Indianapolis runs into me. I don't know why, but this game, a lot of people are running into me left and right. So Shadow Gray Fox, just judging from the fact that he just typed something in chat, probably because he's trying to figure out how to get onto the World Wide Web by starting with many W's. Actually, everyone knows why he put a lot of W's. Some people who try and do something and they don't want to finish their sentence, they sometimes press the W key a lot just to say forward, or they accidentally press the enter key and they had the W pressed and they were wondering why they're not going forward. So the reason why we run into each other is because World of Warships isn't complete without running into your teammates in the beginning of the match. It'd be quite tragic if it was realistic, because if you ram anyone in World Warship, the enemy, of course, you know for a fact that your ships will pretty much instantly die. Some will survive with a die-hard metal, but in real life, if that actually happened, then it would be a serious issue, which is why, historically speaking, when you hear people go on a naval trial or a practice or exercise, a naval practice, they usually try to formulate a way to maneuver your entire ship fleet in different type of stance, if I put it that way. Now this North Carolina, this is going to be quite interesting, because this North Carolina salvo is really weird. And that is right, 5 ricochet, 1 citadel. If you know anything about the North Carolina is infamous for being one of the hardest nuts to crack, because every time you see a North Carolina bow on like that, chances are, just like what happened, most of your shells, if not all of your shells, will ricochet. Now, the Tirpitz is running the 380mm gun, and these guns, by default, should not be able to overmatch the North Carolina by any standards. Even the 406 cannot overmatch. Only the 460s on the Yamato can overmatch the North Carolina. And the Yamato is a big exception because she does have the biggest gun in the game, and she overmatches any ship except the Friedrich Grosser and the Grosser Kaffus, because the battle armor on those two particular ships is 60mm, which is enough to ricochet or block the Yamato shell. Aside from that, most ships on standard have 32mm armor, which is enough to ricochet 420, 406, and all the other common calibers that you find on the battleships. So how did I overmatch, or at least citadel, the North Carolina? Most would say that there's really weird things that happens in World of Warships. For example, I had a moment where I was playing the Leander, which is a British light cruiser. She's running the 152mm guns, light cruiser guns, and I actually citadel in New York. I could not figure out why I citadeled in New York, but I had a moment where I actually citadeled in New York with the Leander. Now, it's surprising because that's not supposed to happen, but at the same time, it doesn't really matter because whether you citadel in New York or not, most of your damage is dependent on DPS. So the reason why I was able to citadel that North Carolina, just deducing what just happened watching it several times, you might have noticed that if you take a close look at the North Carolina's bow. On her bow isn't like the Amagi or the Bismarck, where the bow is very pointy. She actually has a very flat bow, and you might have noticed this Akatsuki tried to sneak up on me, that little sneaky bug, the Japanese ninja. Tried to drop some torpedoes onto me, so I stopped right away. And then I'm gonna open a bag of 380s onto this Akatsuki. Now the Akatsuki, if you're a player like me who's been playing World of Warships long enough, you want to hit a destroyer that is angle. I know it's very counterintuitive for most cases because you want to hit the broadside of a cruiser, carrier, or battleship. For destroyers, you tend to overmatch the destroyers. So when you have AP loaded, if the destroyer is angling, well, trying to angle like the Akatsuki, you will get a lot of penetration because it prevents the over penetration. So I was able to one-shot the Akatsuki because the Akatsuki made the wrong choice of going bow onto me. Now if I was an inexperienced player and I was missing a lot, then it would make sense to angle, but in this case, if I was the Akatsuki and if I knew the player was really good, I would go full broadside, because going full broadside will increase the chance of over penetrating, even though you have a higher chance of being hit by that broadside. So back to the North Carolina. The North Carolina, you can actually citadel the North Carolina by penetrating the bow of the North Carolina perfectly on. It's a bullseye, and that is very difficult to pull off. Something that I don't really aim for, but most cases when a North Carolina bows on, I try to get my shells land to the decks or hit the superstructure to do damage, because most cases, let's face it, if you face North Carolinas, they're just going to ricochet. So I got really lucky on that salvo. Now shout out Gray Fox going in with the job and power, trying to show off with his fallen aggression, which I do appreciate. I know a lot of players, let's be honest. When you go on YouTube, when people post 100k damage, 200k damage, if you know me, I don't care about damage. What makes a game particularly special? I just don't care about how good you are, how bad you are. What makes a game special for me is really the interaction and having, getting into the action or having fun. And I know for a fact that, shout out Gray Fox might be thinking about, if Admiral Hattori is going in, I should go in. Yeah, a lot of people like to go in, and I do appreciate that you go in. But at the same time, someone would just call him out for playing very poorly. But to me, it doesn't matter. And I really like the way when people, this is very rare. Let's be honest. This is very rare to see battleships going in deep hard into your capture zone. And Shadow Gray Fox had the right spirit as I did. And of course, he overextended it. And a lot of people in this day and age, when people do these type of stuff, and it really saddens me to see this, but a lot of people would call those people idiots for overextending. I get called idiots all the time. But the point is, I don't really, value, and that's the thing, is people value different things. They believe in different things. I don't value being good. I mean, I've seen people who see popular YouTubers, they look up to them, and they see people are really good at the game. And admittedly, this gameplay is quite good in terms of damage, but that isn't really what I'm looking for. Shadow Grey Fox, aside from being the second person who actually calls me out and hitting the spot with finding me, playing the same ship, and all this impeccable aligning the stars, it's so perfect. How did that even happen? I thought it was pretty cool. I really did appreciate his, in the beginning of the game, if you saw his comment, he really does encourages me or support me in a way. But ultimately, having these type of conversations is what I always look for. And I like those games much more than games where people care about winning. And you guys know me. I'm all about the fun. I don't care how good you are, how bad you are, as long as you cooperate, as long as you're a person who enjoys playing the game. That's all I care. I could be good, I could be bad, anyone could be that, and I know for a fact that people will critique, and most people will critique on how people play. I'm not that type of person, and I just don't care. And the reason why I bring this up, I'm pretty sure, people are concerned with the way they play the game. I remember when I played World of Warship back in the beta days, way back in the days, and this is one of the reasons why I started to deter away from World of Warships, or at least stop playing World of Warships compared to how I played back then. I played much more often back in the day, but today I don't play as often. And it's the way people are in World of Warship today compared to back then. See, back then, World of Warships, when people download the game, the number one thing that goes to your mind is, my gosh, this is a completely different game. It's a new world. And Wargaming, being a big company, they actually hit the spot with World of Warships, because we've seen plenty of free games out there that do a poor job. And it's just due to the lack of funding or funding people who have knowledge. Wargaming puts a lot of money into searching for historians, searching for graphics, computer programmers, artists, a lot of things. And we do appreciate their efforts for making this free game being very fun, being well polished, and of course they do have their flaws. So when I got into World of Warship, I was kind of expecting that this free game wouldn't be that great, but it turns out to be great. But that wasn't really what makes me enjoy World of Warship. It's not the idea of this is a free game, everyone's playing it. The people's mentality back in the beta days, which I miss a lot, and that was the biggest reason I played World of Warship, was having fun. They care about having fun. So what Shadow Grey Fox did was that he cared about having fun, and I hope he did, because I had fun. He was pushing with me, and you rarely see battleships pushing together into the cap. Let's be honest. How often do you get those games? Of course, he got himself killed, and there's nothing wrong with that. My simple explanation would be, with constructive criticisms, that he should pay attention to the map, don't push too far. But then again, I do it myself. Everyone do make mistakes. No matter how many times I tell myself not to overextend or be the big man with the Bismarck with her secondaries, I always get in a position where I get focus fired and didn't realize I'm facing a bunch of players. So yeah, I could have been the person that's like, hey, Shadow Grey Fox, you're overextending, you might cost us the game. That isn't my mentality. See, back in the day there in beta, it wasn't really about winning. There wasn't that heavy emphasis. Because back in the day, when we crack open that new game, we experienced how to play a battleship. We didn't have a clue what is a Citadel. We experienced the torpedoes, we experienced the carriers. It was fun because everyone was all in. Everyone was just testing, experimenting, going to the capture zone, see what they can do. And it was all about having fun. And I remember people back in the day, the beta players, they were like, oh, nice, you actually got me. That was a cool secondary battle. That was a cool battle. At least it was a nice battle, a nice standoff with destroyer and destroyer, battleship to battleship. Today, when people make an effort like Shadow Grey Fox and me who push in, one small mistake, being shot up or being killed, you get called an idiot. And that isn't what I shoot for. What I really shoot for, which is why I don't really care how good you are or how bad you are or how much damage you do. My model of playing World of Warships and anything I do, and I always talk about this in my other videos, is, like I said, people have different values, people view things differently. If I was a person who cares about winning, that person would, hopefully in an alternate world that I'm not in right now, hopefully I'm not that person, would call that person for being a poor player and call an idiot rather than try to reason why they failed to. And that's not me. Because what I like most of World of Warships, what I really like during the beta days, when people make an effort to play the game. They don't care about winning back in the day, because everyone was having fun. They were trying battleships. It was all these cool new things, and that fun factor is gone because you got people. If you haven't noticed in the chat, you got people like Dump Truck, the guy named Dump Truck, and I'm gonna point this out. I'm not a person who belittles people, but Dump Truck is what you see today. When people die, they fail to understand why they die. They want to get even, and I don't know why. I get these people all the time. No matter how hard you try to avoid these people, there's gonna be people out there who call people idiots for doing things, calling people doing this, and when people die out of jealousy because they lost a battle, like Dump Truck, they always want to feel like they're on top of the argument. So Dump Truck, if you haven't noticed, he died to somebody, and he called him out for like they only won because of this or that, and they're still crap, even though technically you lost the battle. Like you were on the losing end of the battle. So this is why you never see me, or at least you rarely see me, call out people or criticize them for playing poorly. Shadow Grey Fox, if you're watching this video, keep up the good work, because although yes, you did die in the game early on, don't worry about impressing me, because like I said, I don't care how you play, who you are, how good you are. What I really care is the spirit of having fun with World of Warship, and it is these moments that allows me to remember games. I remember back in the beta days on Two Brothers. It's amazing how vividly I remember. On Two Brothers, I was playing the Fuso, and there was this Miyoko, or it was the Aoba, one of those Japanese cruiser. At that time, people started figuring out that battleships should start to camp, but I decided to push in with the Fuso. This Miyoko understood that his task as a cruiser is to escort battleships. He didn't care to sit in the back map and rack up damage. He didn't care to play passive and play it safe and try to be the best player. He had the right mind, the right spirit to go in with the battleship, because he understood that I need help, and he also needs my help with my big guns. So we went in, and we were taking a lot of damage. We were the two guys at the front lines while everyone was behind us. And magically we turned around and were pretty much able to survive the battle. And surviving the battle, it was crazy. Me and him had a casual conversation. Like, hey man, that was pretty awesome. You went in with me. So in this game, you would say that I remember this game because I did a lot of damage with the Turpins. But the truth is, I play a lot of games. Each month, each week, there's going to be a game where I just smash the enemy team. And it's just because I'm experienced. But due to the fact that I get those games a lot, and it's not like, yes, it's difficult to be good at the game, but it's not like it's very uncommon. It is these games, the Miyoko and Fuso game, when the Miyoko and Fuso go in and fight and having fun, and you try to disengage and knowing for a fact that they're putting yourself at risk to just have fun. It is that reason that I was able to remember that game a year ago, vividly, what map, what ship I'm playing. And this game, Shadow Grey Fox, you really did brighten my day for encouraging me and thanking me, or at least supporting me with the videos I make. But I had a blast with you, and like I said, being a small channel, finding the game, living in North America, being able to find me, and this is the second game that I encountered someone who actually knows me. The first game I didn't record, but this game I just happened to record because I decided to do something else with this video, but there was something more important because you gave me the idea to do this video. I can't thank you enough. I had a lot of fun with you. Of course, people ask me why don't I play with other people. Well, none of my friends are interested in World of Warships, and at the same time try to stay anonymous. So I did have a lot of fun. Keep up the spirit, and I do appreciate the fact that you are the person that I'm always looking for in terms of what I like about World of Warship. Going in, engaging, having a casual conversation. This is a game that is going down in history for me, a game that I always remember. The game that I played the Turpits, another subscriber who's also playing the Turpits, going into the A flag, blazing on neighbors, and having fun. And of course, I don't know what's going through your mind. I'm pretty sure that the moment you die, you probably feel like, I died early in the game. That might not look good on the video if I was doing a video right now. that doesn't matter. What really matters is what you reflect on what I'm looking for, what makes a game memorable. This game easily is really does brighten my day. This game will last me 10 terrible games. From, you know, when you have those terrible games when people call you out, this game will allow me to overcome those 10 terrible games that people call out on me. So definitely going down in history. And I noticed at the end of the game, you might have noticed that I compliment the Shadow Grey Fox because I had a blast with him, even though he wasn't at the top of leaderboard. Like I said, I don't care how good you are. What matters is the spirit of playing World of Warships correctly. And also, I should have complimented the Akizuki, but I wasn't really, like I said, I wasn't paying attention to the leaderboard. All I cared was looking for Shadow Grey Fox and compliment him. So I should have complimented the Akizuki. I'm sure that someone down in the comment section saying that the Akizuki did a lot of work, and I do apologize if the Akizuki had a chance to actually spot this video. I should have complimented the Akizuki because the Akizuki did a lot of work of winning the game. But then again, like I said, I don't care about winning. I don't care about how good you are. I don't care about losing. What matters is having fun. So thanks for watching. Thanks to Shadow Grey Fox for having a blast on the game because recently over the weeks on World of Warship I was feeling down, but this game definitely is a game that I remember, a game that actually brightened my mood overall. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time on World of Warships.